Welcome to the MOZAMBIQUE network. I'm Manazai. Kathleen Jenner went on Fox News yesterday where she was asked the question whether Kamala Harris, the former VP of the United States, should run for governor in the state of California in 2026. Here's what she said. Play the clip.
Should Kamala Harris run for governor of California?
No. When I think of Kamala Harris, I think of a couple of things. First of all, tremendous incompetence. She has that word salad that I just, I can't stand, okay? And the worst part, her laugh. I mean, I was so happy when Trump won, not just because I was supporting of Trump and everything, but I was so happy that I thought hopefully she would just fade off into the distance. I couldn't take it. It's not even, the laugh is like a nervous laugh. It's not like a funny laugh, because I think she really doesn't know what she's doing. And I think she knows that.
President Trump, yesterday at the White House, while signing several executive orders, took questions from the members of the press. During this exchange with the journalist, President Trump talked about the Department of Education. And he went as far as acknowledging that China has a better education system than the United States of America. He said this, play the clip.
You look at Department of Education, it seems like so many buildings I ride by, it says Department of Education. They're all over the place. And we don't even want it. We want the education to be given by the states. It'll be much better. It'll move us to the top of the list from the bottom of the list and actually save us money. But it's too important to even talk about them. It'll save us a lot of money, but we don't want that. We want education to be given. So you go to Iowa and Indiana and Idaho and all these places, they're so well run. They're going to be producing education that will be the equivalent of, like Denmark is one, and Norway, Sweden. Actually, China is one of the better in terms of education, and so we can't blame size anymore. China has 1.4 billion people.
President Trump then said that the United States spend more money per student compared to other countries, but that he couldn't see the result because other countries like Denmark have a better educational system compared to the United States. Play the clip.
One thing we're doing well on, we're number one on the list, is cost per pupil. We spend more money than any other country in the world by far. So I jokingly say the one thing we do well on is the cost. We spend more money, and yet we're toward the bottom of the list.
While talking about the CHIPS Act that was signed by the former President Joe Biden, President Trump talked about him being pro-business, and he explained why he is pro-business. He said he's pro-business not for business, or not because of business, but because business gives jobs, and he is pro-jobs. Here, play the clip.
I didn't give the greatest chip company in the world, one of the greatest companies, I didn't give them 10 cents. They came here because of tariffs, because they didn't want to pay the tariffs. And they also came here because they like the results of the election, because they know that I'm very pro-business and pro-jobs. I mean, I'm pro-business, not for business sake. I'm pro-business because of jobs, because business is producing the jobs.
Asked by the journalists about the war between Russia and Ukraine, President Trump said he has good talks with Russia and, frankly, less with Ukraine. He said he doesn't know if the Ukrainian government is ready for peace or not. And he acknowledged that presently Russia is bombarding Ukraine at a level never seen before. He said this, play the clip.
We're doing very well with Russia, but right now they're bombing the hell out of Ukraine, and I'm finding it more difficult, frankly, to deal with Ukraine. And they don't have the cards. They don't have the cards. As you know, we're meeting in Saudi Arabia on sometime next week, early. And we're talking, I find that in terms of getting a final settlement. It may be easier dealing with Russia, which is surprising because they have all the cards. I mean, they're bombing the hell out of him right now. I think he's hitting them harder than he's been hitting them. And I think probably anybody in that position would be doing that right now. He wants to get it ended, and I think Ukraine wants to get it ended, but I don't see, it's crazy. They're taking tremendous punishment. I don't quite get it. I don't know that they want to settle. If they don't want to settle, we're out of there.
Then President Trump talked about the huge number of soldiers that are being killed every day in the war from both sides, Russian and Ukrainian soldiers. Play the clip.
We're losing 2,000 human beings every week. More than that, actually. 2,000 nice, young, although they're getting older because they're drafting much older now. In the case of one country, much older, because a lot of the young people have been killed. It's very sad, and I'd like to see if I could stop that.
President Trump later said that when he looks at what's happening in Europe right now, if this war between Russia and Ukraine is not settled now, we could be headed to World War III. Play the clip.
And, you know, I watched over the last week or so what's going on in Europe. This thing could end up in World War III if we don't get it settled. This could really end up in a World War III.
Then one sentence that many journalists missed during this press conference was when President Trump was talking about Iran, he accidentally said when he lost the presidential election in 2020. However, he did say the election was rigged. Play the clip.
You know, we're down to final strokes with Iran. That's going to be an interesting time. And we'll see what happens. But we're down to the final moments. We're at final moments. You can't let them have a nuclear weapon. I think that I would have had a deal within 1 month after the rigged election of 2020. They were all set to make a deal. And then when I lost, I saw this person who's a stupid person, very stupid person. And they said, let's not make a deal. And they were right.
A journalist asked President Trump about Derek Chauvin's case, the police officer that was charged for causing the death of George Floyd. The journalist asked President Trump if he's going to pardon Derek Chauvin, and he said this. Play the clip.
Mr. President, your allies are calling on you to pardon Derek Chauvin. Are you considering pardoning Derek Chauvin?
No, I haven't even heard about it. No.
There was a very interesting exchange yesterday on Fox News between one of the anchors and a former U.S. general. The journalist asked him, why is it that so many people around the world express sympathy towards Vladimir Putin? And the general said this. Play the clip.
To have a fascination with Putin, who will spend more time trashing Zelensky than they do exposing this former KGB agent who's got 1,000, nuclear-armed missiles aimed at the United States, whose jets are buzzing our ships, who's got 10 military bases in the Arctic Circle aimed at us, really? I mean, President Trump obviously sees this. That's why he talks about Greenland. That's why he's talking about spending more on our military. That's why he's talking about building up our naval capacity and so forth. But I'm talking about other people out there who seem to make excuses for him. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Yeah, it makes no sense. And certainly Russia has grown into a major adversary and threat of the United States. Clearly, they have this limitless partnership, as they define it, with China. They've embraced North Korea and Iran as well, and they all coordinate and cooperate together. And you can see the significant assistance that China, Iran, and North Korea are providing to Russia, and they have helped them get through this war. Make no mistake about that. Yes, and Russia, clearly, we know for a fact that Russia wants to topple the government in Ukraine and wants to move into former Soviet Union countries in Eastern Europe. That's a fact. This is not disputable. These are their ambitions, and he's a war criminal in how he fights a war. Thousands of children have been kidnapped and taken into Russia. That is a war crime in of itself. Who ever heard of doing anything like that? These people are evil. That's the reality of it. And certainly we've got to help Ukraine end this war on their terms. Sovereign, independent state with the capability to deter Russia from having another attack on them. And we know, Mark, that what will happen here is there'll be a peace agreement, we hope, if Russia wants to play. That's still uncertain, whether they're really going to come to the table and make meaningful compromise. But if we get a peace agreement, we know that's not going to change their aspirations at all. At a time convenient for them, they will reattack Ukraine, and that is a fact. So that's what we're facing here.
John Bolton, former National Security Advisor to President Trump during his first term, went on CNN yesterday where he was asked by the journalist if the Russian government usually probes American facilities and cities to look for weaknesses. And he said this.
Is it true that Russia is always probing the U.S. and civilian infrastructure and hospitals and electrical systems to try to see weaknesses?
I think that's clear. The Russians say, oh, it's not Russia. No, it's some troll farm operating under some fake name, some cutout operation. But they're doing it all the time.
There was another very interesting exchange yesterday on Fox News between Jesse Waters and Jordan Belfort. During this exchange, the two men touched on the difference that exists between working remotely and working from the office itself. So they try to compare the difference between working from home and going to the office to work. Play the clip.
Enough of this nonsense, working from home, people on their phones while they're on a Zoom call, get in the office, and by this magic that happens when people are together working in the same space, magic happens.
You're right.
So when people are siloed at home, it's just not the same.
Right now there's a trade war going on between the US, Canada, and Mexico. Although the Trump administration paused the tariff on Canada until April, David Abbey, the Premier of British Columbia in Canada, explained to the American people what this trade war and this tariff are going to cost to them. Play the clip.
Speaking directly to Americans through American media and through international media about the cost of this for American families. Their homes will be more expensive with a 50% tariff on BC lumber. Their electricity will be more expensive with a 10% tariff on Canadian electricity. Filling up the gas tank will be more expensive with a 10% tariff on Canadian petroleum products. Their pasta will be more expensive with a tariff on Canadian wheat. Their farmers will be struggling with higher bills for the potash that they need to grow food for Americans with a 25% tariff on potash. This is foolish. It hurts Americans, it hurts Canadians, and it needs to stop.
Chris Hayes and Dr. Peter Hotez had a very interesting exchange on MSNBC concerning the measles epidemic. And Dr. Hotez had this very important message for the population. Play the clip.
In the midst of an outbreak, if people haven't vaccinated, does it help to go get vaccinated like tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Chris, not only that, even if you've been exposed to measles, if you get vaccinated within 72 hours after exposure, it will have mitigating effects to either prevent you from getting sick or reduce the severity of illness. It's called post-exposure prophylaxis, and that's what we're pushing for because there is a lot of measles exposure going on, and it's never too late.
Very soon, there will be a crypto summit organized by President Trump. But what is Crypto Summit? The following clip is going to give you an answer on what is exactly Crypto Summit. Play the clip.
agenda was announced, no attendee was announced. But one thing he's probably going to talk about is this crypto reserve, because the US wants a reserve of Bitcoin and 4 other coins. I think a lot of investors were hoping that the US would be buying up lots of crypto. Doesn't seem like they're going to do that. He said it's going to be revenue neutral, meaning they're going to use coins that they already have through asset forfeitures.
Congressman Ross Fulcher explained the KEEP Act bill that's currently being introduced by his party in the House of Representatives. This bill to him is very, very important. Play the clip.
Can we go to your KEEP Act? What is the KEEP Act?
Yeah, so KEEP Act is keep each and every penny. And the idea behind that is to eliminate federal income tax on overtime pay. And that was a bill that we released last year. Didn't get a lot of traction, but now with President Trump, he's caught on to that. He's got onto that message. And what we want to do is we want to encourage work. We want people to be able to keep more of what they earn. And especially in this post-COVID world, there's a real problem with that. The idea, of course, is that if you keep more of what you earn, you're going to spend that money, you're going to invest that money, and you're going to do it more efficiently than some government program. And so that's what the idea is. It's similar to the no tax on tips that the president has come out with, but now he's supporting both of those, and we're excited. We hope to be able to put that in the reconciliation package and just reward work and people willing to take that initiative.
The Democrat Congressman Steve Cohen had an interview yesterday. During this interview, he was asked several questions about Elon Musk. And the congressman had very strong word toward the richest man in the world. Play the clip.
Elon Musk is a man who can't even read a bill and understand it. He reads bills and he puts out language that is false to the American public, which is scary. And some people are just amazed. Because he's the richest man in the world doesn't make him the smartest man in the world. There have been a lot of rich people that weren't so smart. And you can start with the President of the United States, who has said that we've given $50 billion worth of condoms to Hamas. We have not done that. We gave some condoms to a place called Gaza that's in northern Africa, not Gaza that's in the Middle East. He doesn't understand his geography, and he said it 2 or 3 times. The only condoms we need are over his mouth.
Congressman Steve Cohen then talked about the importance of the USAID for the United States of America. He said this, play the clip.
USAID is one of our most important programs because it not only helps people, and which is important directly on a one-on-one level, but it helps America because we're seen in the world as a helper in crisis situations where there's poverty, where there's need for water, need for food. We do a lot. We do more than anybody. And the other people out there doing things for these people are Russia and China. If we're not on the playing field doing the good things that people respect about America, and it says USAID from the American people, then Russia and China get all the perks, and they get all of the minerals that we want to get from the Congo and from wherever else in Africa. They provide lithium batteries that make Teslas and give Elon Musk a bunch of money.
There you have it, folks. On the Action Speak Network, we give you the facts. We give you the news as it is. Our personal opinions, we keep them for ourselves. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 1,000. I'm out.